When was the last time you did something just because it felt good, not because it made money, checked a box, or helped anyone else? If your days are packed with constant to-dos but feel strangely flat or joyless, your midlife nervous system may be starving for small, everyday moments of creativity. Welcome to Rooted Insights, a podcast for women in their second season of life who've spent years caring for everyone else: kids, partners, work, households, holding it all together while quietly putting your own needs on the back burner. If you now find yourself wondering, what's next for me? What do I really want from my life now? And how do I start prioritizing myself without dropping everything else? You're in the right place. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelley, a health and well-being specialist and mind-body expert. And here we blend grounded, science-informed practices into everyday life so we can better support our hardworking nervous systems, emotional health, and authentic selves, especially in this powerful mid-season of life. In recent episodes, we've talked about loss, midlife transitions, friendships, and how hormones in your brain are reorganizing in this season. Today, we're going to explore something that often gets dismissed as optional or extra, but is actually profound and necessary nervous system self-care: creativity. Not just painting or writing a poem, although those count, but everyday creativity: cooking, gardening, rearranging a room, music, crafts, doodling, problem solving, or playing. We'll look at how small, low-pressure creative moments can calm your nervous system, support your midlife brain, and help you feel more like yourself again. So take a slow inhale and a slightly longer exhale. You might keep in mind one creative thing you used to love to do, even if you haven't touched it in years. So let's start with the season many women in midlife quietly move through. When you were younger, you might have stayed up late drawing, journaling, making mixtapes, listening to records, decorating your room, or rearranging your space just for fun. Creativity wasn't about being good at something, it was simply part of how you felt alive. Then life got full and you grew up. Work responsibilities grew, kids or caregiving needs appeared, and bills, carpools, lunches, aging parents, and a household to hold together all took its place. The art supplies and crafts got moved to a closet for later. The guitar ended up under the bed, and your journal was replaced by emails, texts, forms, and logistics. Now when you scroll past someone painting, gardening, or doing pottery, something in your chest may tug. Wow, I used to love that kind of thing. And right on top of that comes a familiar voice. Well, who has time for that? I can barely keep up as it is. I should use any extra energy I have to get ahead, get organized, or help someone else. So you keep going. Work, home, sleep, repeat, while your body quietly sends signals of flatness, restlessness, disconnection, or numbness. Your nervous system stays either on edge or checked out, and joy begins to feel like another item you can't quite reach, while everything else feels like just another task to complete. If any part of that feels familiar, loving something so much once, sidelining it for years, and now feeling both drawn to it and silly for wanting it back, this episode is especially for you. It's here to offer a different possibility: creativity as gentle, everyday medicine for your nervous system, not another performance standard to try to live up to. So let's ground creativity in simple science for a moment. When you engage in creative activities, especially ones that feel absorbing but not high stakes, several helpful things are happening. Your brain can begin to shift out of constant task mode into more of a default mode network and flow pattern, where it integrates memories, emotions, and ideas in the background. This is often where insight, problem solving, and a sense of meaning arise from. Many creative activities naturally regulate your nervous system. Repetitive movements, knitting, sewing, crocheting, chopping vegetables, paint strokes. Rhythmic activities, music, walking while daydreaming, some forms of yoga and Pilates or toning, and focus attention on something soothing, natural, or non-threatening, like watching the clouds, nature, or gardening, all send "you're safe enough" signals to your body. Creativity can support neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections. by introducing novelty, challenge, and pleasure in ways that are very different from your usual stress patterns. Learning even small new skills or approaches helps keep midlife brains adaptable. From a nervous system perspective, many mid-season women live in two main modes. The first is high activation, where they're always on, problem solving, taking care of others, and mentally rehearsing those to-do lists. Or collapse and numbness, scrolling, zoning out, feeling disconnected, or just over it. Creativity offers a third space, gently engaged, present, a little curious, while not performing for anyone. In that space, stress hormones can drop, muscle tension can soften, and your system can remember what it feels like to be more than just productive. And here's a key point to understand. The benefit doesn't depend on being good at it. Your nervous system doesn't need you to be a great painter or a perfect singer or an expert gardener. It just needs you to have pockets of honest, low-pressure expression where you're not trying to win, impress, or fix anything. Many women in this season feel blocked around creativity for a few reasons. Maybe creativity once got tied to performance, like grades, praise, social media likes, or money. If you're not good enough, it doesn't feel worth doing. Or there's the to-do list mindset that whispers, if I have extra time, I should use it to be productive, not to waste time playing. And then there's that perfectionism and comparison creeping in. I used to be better at this, or other people are real artists, I'm just messing around. In midlife, though, creativity can become something very different. Instead of being about output, like what did I produce, it can be about a state. How did this change how I feel in my body and in my day? Instead of being about proving something, am I talented, am I valuable? It can be about tending to something. Did I give my nervous system a moment of color, sound, play, or imagination today? Creativity in this season is allowed to be imperfect, private, small, or short, inconsistent, and still incredibly meaningful. You can think of it as a way to let your inner life have a say, not just your outer responsibilities. A way to let your body and brain experience joy that isn't dependent on anyone else's reaction. So here's a few simple creative practice play dates for your nervous system you can try this week. Practice number 1. What did I love at the age of 10? If you feel disconnected from your creative side, try this prompt later in your journal or on a walk. When I was about 10 years old, or any age that comes to you, what did I love doing just because I wanted to? Not because I was good at it or got praised for it. It might have been drawing or coloring, making up dances, singing along to songs, making up stories, building forts, collecting rocks, leaves, or shells and making fun arrangements with them. Write down 2 to 3 of those and then ask yourself, what is the smallest possible way I could give myself 5 to 10 minutes of that same type of creative energy this week? For example, doodling on scrap paper while you drink your tea or coffee, turning on a favorite song and moving however you want in the kitchen while making dinner or just hanging out in the living room, or arranging flowers or objects on a table. Let it be tiny, let it be imperfect. The goal is not a product, it's a nervous system experience. Practice number 2, the 10-minute no outcome playdate. Once this week, see if you can give yourself a 10-minute creative playdate with one rule. No outcome is required. So choose something simple like watercolors or markers on plain paper, free writing in a journal with no plan or no thought, rearranging a small shelf or corner of a room in a way that feels special for you, or making a playlist for yourself and listening while taking a bath. Or maybe it's doodling using a spirograph, exploring all the cool shapes you can create. You want to set a timer for 10 minutes, and during that time, if your mind says, this is dumb or I'm wasting time, just gently remind yourself, I'm not doing this to be good at it. I'm doing this to give my nervous system a different kind of moment today, and I deserve that. When the timer ends, pause and notice, how does my body feel now compared to 10 minutes ago? Then just notice any softening, relaxation, even 5% counts. Practice number 3, using imagination as a micro reset. In our episodes on intuition, intention, and imagination, we talked about using imagination as an inner tool, not just for worry. Here's a tiny way to use it creatively for your nervous system. Once a day, when you feel rushed or overwhelmed, take 30 seconds to imagine one small scene that feels peaceful, kind, or joyful to you. Maybe it's you sitting under a tree, walking by a stream of water, standing with your feet in some grass or on the soil or in the ocean, leaning on a tree, laughing in a cozy room with a friend, or sitting with a pet just enjoying their company, or maybe painting in a sunny corner. Let yourself feel that for just a few breaths. What'd you see, hear, smell? How would your body feel being there right now? You're giving your brain and body a brief creative rehearsal of a different state of being, which can gently help your system remember that more than one channel exists. As we close, you might carry these questions into a journal, a walk, or a quiet shower. Where in my life have I told myself that there's no time for joy unless everything else is done? And what's one small, possibly silly, creative thing that my body secretly misses? And what would it mean to treat that impulse as medicine for my nervous system rather than as a frivolous extra? You don't have to quit your job and move to an artist retreat to reclaim creativity. Every single 5 or 10-minute pocket of honest play, color on a canvas, music in the kitchen, ideas on paper, soil on your hands, is a moment where your nervous system remembers, I'm not just a machine, I'm a human, and I'm allowed to feel alive and creative too. If this conversation helped you feel a spark you thought you'd lost, or gave you permission to try one tiny creative experiment, I'd love for you to keep walking with me here on Rooted Insights. Follow, like, or subscribe to the podcast, and if it feels supportive, share it with another mid-season friend who may find these grounded, science-informed, and heart-centered conversations helpful. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What did you love creatively when you were younger? And what's one 10-minute, no-outcome playdate you're willing to gift your nervous system this week? Your experiment might be exactly what another woman needs to hear to remember that joy is not a reward for finishing your list. It's part of how your body and brain heal and move into this next chapter of your life. Remember, you're not behind, you're in a new season of your life, and your nervous system, your brain, and your body and soul are still capable of learning and playing. You're allowed to create a life that feels good from the inside out, not someday, but one tiny creative moment at a time. We're here rooting in together, one color, one note, one small act of quiet joy at a time. Until next time on Rooted Insights.